Welcome to Be Free and Fit, the show that believes that principles applied through the process bring long-term sustainable progress. I'm your host, Brianna Dawkins. So the last couple episodes, we've been talking about self-love, breaking down Corinthians 13, where it describes what love is. And we've been navigating the different way that love applies to our life, as well as how we love ourselves. But the way that we love ourselves, it also helps us love others. So I'm super excited about today's episode because we have a special guest here today, and I'm super excited about her being here. This is April Whitehead. So I'm so excited to introduce who she is and how she's going to help us dive deeper into a psychological view of how we look at ourselves and what are some things that happen as we process through discovering what self-love is. So April Whitehead, she earned her bachelor's degree in education in 2007. She earned her master's degree in clinical mental health counseling in 2010. And she is currently a licensed mental health counselor working in private practice in Orlando, Florida. April has a total of 12 years experience as a therapist. Over the last decade, she has worked in school, hospital, and private practice settings, combining her experience in education and mental health. April works with adults, adolescents, families dealing with grief, anxiety, depression, race trauma, relationship issues, cultural identity needs, career support, infertility, and identity development. April is especially passionate about supporting young adults as they begin to navigate adulthood and supporting couples as they navigate relational conflicts. With her, you will find a curious, warm, empathetic listener who wants to support and provide insight as you respond to your current life's challenges. Outside of counseling room, April enjoys working out, sipping on extra hot tea and coffee, reading a good book, watching documentaries, and enjoying time with her husband, her 3-year-old and 5-year-old daughters, as well as her plants. So I want y'all to get ready, okay? Because you need to go ahead and grab a notebook, a pen and paper, whatever you need, because we're about to hear some real wisdom from this incredible mama, my cousin, April Whitehead. Hey, ladies.
Hey.
Yes.
Doing good. I'm excited to be here. Yeah, I love what you're doing. Yeah, I'm definitely proud of you and just everything that you're doing here. It's inspirational, really.
I appreciate
Seriously.
you so much. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for
Seriously.
having me.
Yes. Okay. So we're gonna get into it. As women in this world, it's not always easy loving ourselves.
Yes,
especially
it is
after
not.
having women
Not.
after having kids. It gets even harder. And it seems like the world around us is constantly telling us reasons why we shouldn't love ourselves.
Yep.
So can you briefly share how body image, body dysmorphia, self-image, how that all affects us psychologically?
Yes, definitely. And I just want to give kind of a disclaimer that my training, I did get my clinical mental health counseling degree from a seminary. And so there is a faith based aspect to just kind of everything that I say. And that's how things are filtered through for me. And so I may not be saying in John 3:16, it says this, but just know that the way I view people is that we are image bearers of God.
Yes.
And like he said at the end of creation, he said he saw everything and said it was good.
Yes.
And so I really work out of that in the way that I view people and just purpose and story. So just know if something I say doesn't feel like it aligns to God's calling or purpose in your life right now, follow God over me. So yeah, I just wanted to say that to start. When it comes to body image, I did just looking through Oxford Dictionary about just a definition of body image. The subjective picture or mental image of one's own body. Another definition, a person's perception of their physical self and the thoughts and feelings, positive, negative, or both. So I read that to say that body image has a lot to do with relationship with your body. Just like you have a relationship with friends or a lover or a relative, that relationship is based off your perception of that person, right? And so how you feel or think about it is because it's based off the perceptions of that person. If you think of your relationship with your body in a similar way, whether you think of it that way or not. So I'm saying whether you think of it that way consciously or not, you are creating a relationship with your body. You're actively having one, whether you are aware of it or not. So if that's true, that your relationship with your body image is very much based off of perception and a relationship, then the way you perceive your body informs your body image. Hopefully, you're understanding to mean body image is not just a feeling. Okay, I'm not just talking about, oh, I feel good about my body. It's also a thought. So, body image and perception of people is a mixture of feeling and thought. It's not just one, it's both. And a relationship is based off of feelings and thoughts. It's not just one or the other. So, your body image is formulated by your thoughts, the way you perceive about your body, and also your feelings. So that's basically how I would say I define body image as a relationship and a perception of the relationship with your body. So if you're thinking about that, think about, how do I perceive my body? What do I think about it? And you don't have to go we won't go super deep right now, but some things that I would say that would help you know what your relationship is like with your body is going through your personal history with your body. And so that would be, listen to the messages you receive throughout your entire life about your body. Your primary caregivers, mom, daddy, grandma, those aunties, siblings, friends. If you remember a message about your body, it mattered. If you remember it, it mattered. So it doesn't mean that that was the intent, though, of the person. It doesn't mean that it was evil, but the way you perceived it matters. And I'm speaking for supportive, uplifting, and painful memories, both. Like supportive, uplifting ones and painful ones. So just going back to kind of like, what is your first memory of something being said about your body? And it matters to process through that and begin to sift through and say, okay, this is stuff I'm going to keep.
Yeah.
And this is stuff I'm going to decide, I want to try to heal and close out and grow from that. But the old saying, like, you can't change what you don't acknowledge.
Exactly.
Right? And so going through and acknowledging it and owning it, and we'll get more further into the our episode about just practically how you can navigate that. After you've kind of learned about your history, there's ways that you can, because you're not going to change people.
No.
You still have to interact with these people who might have said things and done things that hurt you. And so that's a whole kind of boundary conversation and stuff like that. But that's what I would say, what forms body image, and then how you can also learn about what your relationship with your body is and how it developed.
Yeah.
Because it didn't just come out of nowhere.
No.
And so it's not like you should feel like, oh, I'm just jacked up, I'm messed up, I'm a failure. No, there was a muscle that got worked for a long time to make you feel the way that you feel about your body.
Yes.
And that would mean somebody who's like, I've always felt great about my body. Well, there was a reason. There was a muscle that got worked to help you feel that way. And then I've always felt, this way about this part of me, or this way, or even if it was new, like I always felt great and then this happened.
Yes.
Okay, that's when the muscle started to get worked. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit about body image. There's a lot,
Yeah.
but that's
A gist of it.
Yeah.
What would you say, like, what happens with, like, people's mental when it comes to, like, body dysmorphia?
Okay. So body dysmorphia is different because that's a medical diagnosis. And yet, I think, and most, mental health providers would say diagnoses are on a continuum. So just because it is a diagnosis, I think there's lots of people walking around with undiagnosable body dysmorphia because it's on a continuum. I mean, it has to be pretty serious for it to be diagnosed. So what I wanted to do, though, is just kind of read the diagnosis just so people know, because if any of these things apply to you, my automatic suggestion would be you need to seek some sort of an actual provider, an actual clinical mental health counselor, psychologist, psychiatrist, or even just checking with your medical doctor, like your primary care person. That person would work too, because that means that you have a diagnosable disorder. So the first thing is preoccupation with one or more perceived defects or flaws in physical appearance that are not observable to others. So something that you're so preoccupied with, and literally all of your girlfriends or all of your guy friends or all of your, relatives, maybe cousins, are like, we don't see it. What are you talking about? Like, you're fine. Okay, then your perception is off. Another thing is, if you, at some point during the course of this disorder, you have like a repetitive behavior of checking in the mirror or combing one specific spot or fixing this specific eyeliner, or you're constantly like, you have to shift your clothes and you just don't feel like settled in your body. That's another criteria. Another one is, and this one's probably the most significant, is a clinical impact in your social functioning or your occupational functioning. So if you literally cannot, ever almost leave the house, or you can't hold up your job, or you keep kind of, there's something significant, and usually it's a shift, a significant shift in your social functioning. That would be your friends, your family, even within your family and your home, and then with your work.
Okay.
So that's another one. And then the last is your appearance preoccupation is not explained by, but if you have another disorder, such as like a eating disorder or something, then that would be what we would defer to over body dysmorphia. So if you have disordered eating or something like that, but so the body dysmorphia is really specific to your physical body, not the actual behaviors you do that maybe maintain or not maintain certain appearances. It literally is just how you perceive your body. So that's body dysmorphia.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's so good. That's so good.
Like I said, if any of that fits anyone, please reach out for help. There is a website that has a list of therapists. And I know you have a diverse following, but it is harder for people of color to find therapists. And if you are looking for one, there's a site called Therapy for Black Girls. And so they have clinicians from all over the United States listed on there. So that would be a good starting place. Just because I'm sure you have listeners that are not just in Florida. So.
Yes. Well, I do want to ask this question. This kind of is like just going into like this, but like, what do you feel like, so like how social media has affected us mentally? Can you go into that just a little bit?
Social media.
Like I talk to my husband about that all the time, and we're like, we feel like it's had like kind of like a negative effect on our mental. So like if you can just share like your insight on that.
Okay. So how you think it's affect the way we view our bodies?
Yes.
Okay. So social media is visual.
Yeah.
it's all visual. It's not a podcast where you're just listening in and you can create pictures. It's creating images for you. And these images are really given value and worth, and it's like subjective.
Yes.
It's so subjective. So it's almost as if a magazine, which I mean, I remember when I was younger, it was like, oh, the magazines are not good for kids because it shows these unrealistic images.
Yes.
We've gone from the magazines that you would have to buy or your parents have to buy for you to now free.
Yes.
Social media magazine where you're just, and so it's not healthy the way that it's presented and the value and worth that's put on it. So in some ways, this is kind of up for debate, but when you talk about just pure brain development, it's better when your brain development is further along because then you have a way to process this stuff.
Yeah.
So if we're talking about kids, adolescents, things like that, it's really not the best for them to just freely be, because their brains are still being formed.
Yeah.
They really don't have, they're still very concrete thinkers. So they're not thinking very critically.
Yeah.
And then as adults, we are over here, you really have to know yourself and just be aware of like, what are your boundaries? I encourage all of my clients and myself as well to develop an idea of boundaries around social media and being aware of how you feel, because you spoke to how you and your husband, and so having awareness of like, how do I feel after I'm on here for about 20 minutes?
Yes.
You know, checking in with yourself. Like, am I starting to feel anxious?
Yes.
Do I feel panicky? Did I start and felt great about myself, and then now 20 minutes in, I'm having these just negative self-talk and just beating myself up? That's not healthy. Just think, if you had a friend who you went and hung out with them and you felt that way, would you keep hanging out with that friend?
No, I would not.
You would say, she is not the one. I mean, she's probably for somebody, or he's for somebody else, but not for me.
Exactly.
And so you really do need to think that way about everything in your life, but definitely social media, because it's a choice. It really is a choice, and you are free to do what you, so yeah, I think that's the biggest thing I would say is check in with yourself, your own body, your own mind. How do I feel, after doing this? About 20 minutes or so in. I think that's the best way to just kind of like learn and investigate, and then build your boundaries around that.
Yes.
Because there are some people who they can look and they're just like, yeah, no, whatever. It's very interesting to me. And they're fine.
Yes.
They really do exist. I think it's in the minority.
Yeah.
But it does. So that's why I say I don't know that there's like a, black and white answer, but knowing yourself.
It's the best way. I hope y'all taking notes, okay? Because look, for me, I'm going to be running it back, okay? I'll be taking my notes, okay? So I do want us to make sure that we are like giving some tools to those who are listening. If they're having trouble with like self-love or accepting themselves, what would you say are some tools or exercises that could be helpful to them?
Okay. So first of all, there's just some basic books that I think are helpful. There's one that you can literally find on Amazon. It's called The Self-Esteem Workbook. It's right here. It's orange, by Glenn Schiraldi. So that's something you can literally do at home. You could do it with a therapist if you wanted. I do it with my clients, but you can do it yourself too. There's also a great book called The Body is Not an Apology. And I cannot remember the name of that author right now. But also there's there's one specific exercise that I do with my clients. It's a body appreciation exercise. And basically what it says is that what I encourage clients to do is I talked about earlier how there's a muscle that's been developed,
Yeah.
right? And so starting to develop, when we look in the mirror, just completely honestly, your eyes fall to, oh man, I don't like that little mark I have. Look at this. My eyes are, and so you're automatically kind of critical.
Yes.
Right? And so developing a muscle of body appreciation is a good way to start intentionally.
Yeah.
And so maybe I encourage to start at like 6 times a day, just like going in front of the mirror and appreciating what I call the miracles that are in your body, which is your organs, your sensory things that are working, your eyes, your heart, and just really having an appreciation for even a part of yourself that you do like. Like maybe you're like, oh, I do like my lips. Okay. And so appreciating that and saying, so instead of going in the mirror and looking for what you don't like, practicing going in the mirror and looking for what can I appreciate. So not even just what's attractive, which that's fine too, but what can I appreciate about my body? What can I, like, oh wow, I can appreciate that, you know, this hair is growing out of my head. I can appreciate that I have 2 eyes that I can see. I can appreciate that I have teeth that allow me to chew my food, you know, and taste it. Just there's so many things you can appreciate about your body. So yeah, that is definitely something I would say you can start with, is a body appreciation exercise. Also, something else that I would say is there's also some mindfulness guided imagery type stuff that is really helpful. And maybe that's something that we could even do another time. But I do have like some guided imageries around body appreciation, which I think are helpful. And even with YouTube, you may even find something like that if you Google like guided imagery for body appreciation or body affirmation. And someone will kind of walk you through like a 5 to 7 minute thing of how you can appreciate your body, and moving you from your head all the way down to your feet. And so, yeah, maybe if we do something else, I could do something like that at some point.
Definitely, 100%.
Yes. Okay.
100%.
The last thing I would say is you have to start with understanding. It's cliche, but you can't change what you don't acknowledge. So take some time, like I said before, to go over your history, but also accepting and appreciating your body right now. You know, just regardless of appreciating what it's brought you through currently and how it's carried you. And then you can begin to kind of make a realistic plan for what you desire, you know, for your body. But first, there definitely needs to be a sense of like, God said it was good.
Yes.
Like your body is a gift. You wouldn't be here without your body.
Right.
And so just having a sense of like, yes, this doesn't feel like this relationship isn't great right now, but I can appreciate that I have one.
Exactly.
And I can say, wow, these legs got me to this.
Yes.
These arms got me to this. And so really just radical. And I think you touched on this in something, I don't know if it was a podcast or your Facebook group or And I was like, yep. I was just like, yes, Brit. I'm like, that is. But it takes time to get there.
Yes. Listen, I'm just now getting there, you know? I feel like over the past like year or so, I wasn't there. And I was like mentally like sabotaging myself and just like super critical, like just super like negative, you know? And I don't know what changed. I feel like spiritually God like had to come in and do something because I don't know what shifted my perspective, but I do believe everything that you're saying.
Yeah, there's a sense of like when we're in a place of like, I just want to change because I don't like something. I want to change because I don't like it. I want to change. it's almost as if we're trying to fix our feeling and thought or the relationship by just fixing something. And so it's
Yes.
really band-aiding. You're just band-aiding it because you
Mm-hmm.
still don't have that love and
No.
appreciation for your body. You don't have that kind of unconditional love for your body. And our
Yes.
body's in seasons and it changes and grows, like you said, with being a mom. And
Yes.
there is a sense of, there is a time when I remember feeling, and I mean it still happens, but there was a
Mm-hmm.
time where literally I lived where I felt uncomfortable in my body.
Yeah.
And I didn't know enough to frame it as that.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just like, at the time, I was just like, I'm not happy. Like, I don't want to be seen. I don't want to
Yeah.
be. And once I get to this, then I'll be okay. Or once I get to this, I'll be okay. And it was very unrealistic, honestly, for my lifestyle and my
Yes.
responsibilities at the time.
Yes.
And so it was like, you got to give yourself some compassion, grace, and appreciation
Mm-hmm.
for
Yes.
like what you went through, what you've been through. I mean, your body carried some babies, like it
Girl.
birthed them, and it's so good to I actually had another mother
Yeah.
say something like that to me, because I was saying, yeah, and I haven't been able to work out and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, girl, it's the seasons, you'll be able to work out at times and then sometimes you don't. She's like, that's just being a mom. And I'm like, she's saying that so like lightly.
Yes.
And it just didn't hit me right, because I was just like,
Wait a
I'm
second.
like, I'm like, she's older, she's had her kids, like they were like teenagers at that time. And I'm like, if she can do that, I can
Yes.
think that way too. It was a
Exactly.
sense of like I could stand on someone else's
Yes.
shoulders until I had my own. I was like, I'm just gonna take your truth.
Yes.
Because yeah, and it is true though. It is
Yeah.
true that life is in seasons. And am I even answering the question
Girl,
anymore?
yes. Yes. Yes, you are. You
I'm
are.
like, wait a
Where are we at?
yeah, that's literally. I'm like, I know we're having a great conversation, but
No, it's perfect. It's perfect. But
okay,
no, I was
good,
gonna
good.
agree with you though, because like I feel like for me, I struggle with that too. And then I had to like challenge myself and I was like, where did that like sense of feeling like even come from? Like where did that standard come from, you know? And like for Mitchell and I, like when we would like last year, we went to the Maldives and I taught a fitness class there at the heaviest
Awesome.
weight I've ever been. And it's like in my mind, I've been thinking like this whole time up until this point in my life that like I have to maintain this certain image. I have to like be this certain person. And if I'm not, I'll never get an opportunity. I'll never be able to do this and that, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like God
Yeah.
has like revealed to me that like that's not his standard. And like the same opportunities that like he desires for my life can still come into my life
Yeah.
at every season of my life. Like you said, it's like being able to take ownership and like acceptance of where I am right now, you know? And it's being able to like fully just like embrace that and just like take ownership of it and just keep it moving. Cause like at the end of the day, we're doing the best we can to be the best moms we can to our kids and the best wife that we can to our spouse, you know? And like that's all we can do, you know?
That is literally all you can do. You can just, and literally you wake up every day and you're just trying to do the best you can.
Yes.
You are not, we are not perfect. Like we just can't do it.
No.
And yeah, motherhood will teach you that. Yeah. No, that makes sense though.
Yes.
I agree that God can use us anyway, anytime. And sometimes our perceptions and also just what culture and people and things have formed in us teach us that we need to be a certain way for God to use us. And like God's use is all about freedom.
Yes.
And, right?
Yes.
And so if it feels constrained, I'm just like, that's not God.
Exactly.
That is not, that's not love.
Mm-mm.
That isn't what a like father would do for their child.
Yes.
You know, they're gonna say, "I love you."
Yes.
Like you're my creation.
Yes.
So yeah.
I love it. I love it so much. Oh my gosh. All right. So April is truly amazing. We're going to have her on here again. So don't even fret. Don't even worry. Okay. So thank you so much for sharing everything, April, for real. For anybody that's out there, can you only have clients that are in Orlando, or like how does that work?
So technically, yes, I right now I'm only accepting clients in Florida. So
Okay.
no, I can have more than clients in Orlando, but the state of Florida is where I can take clients. I do some telehealth, but mostly right now I'm doing in person.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what I'm mainly doing is in person.
Okay. So if you are in Florida and you are looking for a therapist or counselor,
Yes.
please look up April. Her website is Therapy for Black Girls. You share. What is the website?
Okay. So my I am listed on Therapy for Black Girls. My Instagram page is With Open Hands Therapy. I would love clients. Right now I am very full, so I am taking a wait list.
Okay.
So I don't want people to reach out thinking, "Oh, we can start next week."
Yeah.
It may be a month. I have 24 clients right now, and a lot of mental health is very needed right now. But I do, if you're comfortable with waiting a few weeks, then yes, I am taking a wait list, and So it may be something if you're willing to wait, and some people are. Then yes, please reach out to me at With Open Hands Therapy. On Instagram. And also you can find me under April Whitehead at therapyforblackgirls.com. I can give you my email address too. You could email me for a request. April Whitehead LMHC at gmail.com. One thing I did want to add really quickly because we were talking about accepting your body for how it is. And what I didn't say is I do think after you are in a place of acceptance and appreciation, you can start to make a realistic plan for what you desire.
I love that.
If it's something as basic as drinking more water, eating vegetables, doing a cleanse, joining Weight Watchers, I mean, literally anything. I think the important thing is feeling being kind and compassionate with yourself and feeling empowered. So if it's not empowering you, I would encourage you to stay away from it. We don't need to suffer in order to get to a better place with our bodies. So yeah, I just wanted to say that you can start to do things, but in a way that you feel empowered.
Yes.
I would say.
So would you say that in order to set those healthy goals, you have to first, a prerequisite is first accepting yourself?
Yes.
One thing I do want to ask real quick is what would you say is evidence that someone has reached a point in their heart or in their mind that they have fully accepted or arrived to that sense of compassion for self?
Yeah.
What would that look like?
I think your voice within your head sounds different because we all know what our voice says when we're walking around, when we're getting dressed, when we're putting on clothes, when we're picking out what we're going to eat, when we're taking a shower, when we change clothes. I mean, there was literally a time for me where I didn't want to look at myself in the mirror. I was like, let me just walk past here real quick so I don't have to, I was running from a body that had endured and persevered through so much, which is really a beautiful thing and a strong thing and something to be proud of. And so even in that, you can hear the difference of me hiding and me realizing I went through some strong things. I persevered. I'm a mom of two. I went through infertility things. I went through IVF 3 times. And so my body literally, I mean, taking shots every day for weeks. There was a lot. And I persevered through that. My
Yes.
body persevered. Like God gave me a body that was able to do that.
Yes.
That's something to be proud. And I am like, I really am proud of that. But there was a time where I did not like what IVF did to my body. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I was ashamed of it. I was embarrassed by it. And so I think literally your voice in your head sounds different. The way you carry yourself, the way you think about your body just sounds different. And it's a significant shift.
Yeah.
So I think that's where the evidence would be, is that you and I think too, people who know you would be able to sense that too. So maybe even I think checking with other people too, if that's what is helpful for you, getting a sense of like, how do you feel like I'm carrying myself or thinking or talking about my body? Because sometimes we're saying things that we don't know we're saying. But other people are like, yeah, you do say that a lot. Like and so checking with other people too to see what their awareness is of where you're at could be evidence that you've done that work of acceptance and compassion, and not rushing to just, oh, if I can just get to this. And I want us to feel empowered in our body, but I think that's another way of feeling empowered is appreciation.
I agree with that.
Yeah. And then you can feel empowered by whatever it is you desire your body to shift and be. And I think that can be different for each person. I think that's something we're gonna talk about, right? Or no? Am I moving along too fast?
No, I think so. Okay. Well, we're gonna transition now into like the fitness portion of the episode, and we're gonna get to know our guests. So we're gonna get to know April, and we're gonna ask her a couple questions of how she prioritizes her fit life. All right, so we have 7 questions total, and the first one is this one right here. So, have you always been fit, and what inspired you to live a fit lifestyle?
Okay. So, I have always been an athlete. It's hard for me to define fitness.
Yeah.
So instead of fitness, I think I feel more kind and empowered. It feels more kind and empowering for me to think of it as, do I feel comfortable in my body? Like, how have I? And I think it's different for each person.
For sure.
And that's where I'm like, for me, I realized that I was spending a lot of time, like I said, uncomfortable in my body. So have I always felt comfortable / fit in my body? No, I haven't. And I desire that now, but my definition of what being comfortable is a lot kinder than it used to be. Like I said, I've been an athlete, and the course of my life basically has affirmed and confirmed that that's just the mentality and mindset I have.
Yes.
And so I do actually, truly enjoy working out, feeling strong.
Yeah.
Like I crave that workout high.
Yes.
But so then the idea of like fitness and feeling comfortable in my body is kind of on a continuum. So I think about, right after I was an athlete in college, right after college, I felt like super fit. I never thought I would not feel fit.
Yeah.
Right? I was 22, I was a college volleyball player. I was good. And then I kind of traveled this road of IVF and infertility, and my body felt like it wasn't mine anymore. Like my body became something that I didn't feel like I had control over, because of all the hormones and just even the emotional impact.
Yeah.
And so going through that, and then being pregnant, having 2 kids, you get to a point where I got to a point where comfortability was like, I am so uncomfortable. Like I said, I wouldn't even look at myself in the mirror. So I had to really recreate and figure out, I had to spend some time with myself figuring out, what does comfortable mean to me?
Yes.
And that's where I came up with, it means feeling strong.
Yes, I love
It
that.
means feeling like I want to be able to, squat down and like help my child put on their shoe and not feel like, oh shoot, I might fall over. Like this is going to be awkward. Like I just want to feel that sense of like, I can do that and get back up.
Exactly.
And I wanted to enjoy getting dressed.
Exactly.
So just simple things like that, not like I need to be this specific weight. I need to be this specific size.
Yeah.
For me personally, the scale, just throughout my whole life, I've never had a good relationship with the scale.
Yeah.
And even when I didn't, I felt comfortable with my body, I carry a lot of muscle, always have. And so I always weigh much more than anyone would expect that I do.
Yeah.
And so having to go through, oh, wow, like, do you weigh this much? You weigh that much? For me, it's not mentally helpful to get caught up in the scale. So for me, a boundary is that doesn't go into my fitness or how comfortable I feel. What it is, do I feel strong?
Yes.
Do I like how my clothes feel in my body?
Yes.
Do I have the endurance I'd like to have when I'm working out?
Yes.
Do I, something else is, am I able to actively engage in life with my kids the way I want to? Am I living life the way I want to? I mean, it's the cliche, like living your best life, but am I living life to the fullest? Is my body holding me back from that?
Yes.
And so that's where those times, so that's how I've defined like feeling fit or feeling comfortable for me. And I think it's important to own what it is for you and then begin to live it out how you want to. To answer your question, absolutely. There are times I have not always felt fit or comfortable with my body. And I actually am like, I'm okay with that. Yes. I get that, like, it's seasonal. I may not feel that way for a week. Yeah. And then the next week I'm like, wow, I feel strong. I feel good. Yeah. So
I love that. No, I love that so much. And like, this is like one thing I have to say before we go into the second question, because like, I feel like a lot of people struggle and I understand why they struggle, because like on one of the episodes that I just had like a couple weeks ago, it was like all about like people are setting goals based on other people's bodies, based on social media and like so on and so forth. And like, there's not a clear understanding of how to even set a healthy weight loss goal or a healthy overall fit goal. Like people don't even really fully grasp like what that is. But like you literally hit it on the nail. Like, girl, like that has been like my mental, like everything that you said is like the newness of the renewed mind for me. Like, because before it was based on like other people. It was like, I'm in this fitness industry. I gotta like try to figure out how I can navigate looking like the fitness industry so I can be accepted in the fitness industry, so I can be qualified to help people in the fitness industry. And it was like this whole cycle, you know? But then like, I feel like I went through this process now and I'm like, this has nothing to do with any of that. And there's this new awareness of like, wow, like this is about quality of life. Like you said, if I'm at a weight where I can't go bungee jumping if I want to tomorrow, then I probably should change something, you know? And it has no like, you know, bearance of like me being a bad person or like me shaming myself because of it, you know?
Absolutely.
But it's like that acceptance that like, okay, yes, I'm here where I am. Whether I chose to get myself here because of what I chose to do, or if it was because of a baby, or if it was because I literally was like emotionally eating and I got to this place. No matter what it is, you know, we're here now. And it's like, how can I evolve from this place from there? So I was really appreciative that you shared that. Seriously.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's true. It's so true.
Mhm.
Everything that you explained, and yeah, there's a need for acceptance and not comparing.
No.
It's just, yeah. There's the old saying, comparison's the thief of joy. It's true.
It is so
It's true.
true. Like
It's
for real.
mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So the second question is, what advice do you have for moms who claim they just don't have time for exercise?
Yeah. That is that is a hard one.
Mhm.
Um because in reality we we are busy, our plates are full, right?
Mhm.
As moms.
Yeah.
And so that question, what I would say is, first of all, I think there's a sense of the therapist side of me is like, I know I can't change people.
Yeah.
I cannot change people, right? A person has to choose
Mhm.
on their own that they want to change. So, in reality, if someone is asking that question and not seeking to problem solve, they're not really wanting to shift yet, and that's fine, but that's
Yeah.
just where they're at.
Mhm.
That's my therapist says. I'm like, we'll keep doing sessions, and when you're ready, we'll make that shift type
Yeah.
of thing. But if someone is asking the question and they really feel like I don't have time,
Mhm.
what I would say is take some time and literally sit down and write out your schedule.
Yeah.
Like, just practically write it out Sunday to Saturday, the whole day, every day. And just think about, give yourself, like, put on your problem solving hat and think about how can I, 10 minutes,
Yes.
how can I get this in, on
Mhm.
Sunday? And how can I, do some weights, or how can I? So I say, look through your schedule. But also, I think sometimes when people are asked saying that they don't have time, it could be something else, like, I don't have childcare, or
Hmm.
I live too far from a gym,
Yeah.
or I don't have any weights in my house.
Yeah.
So there's just these things that are kind of getting in the way, which are real problems.
Yeah.
But okay, that may be true.
Mhm.
How can we solve it? So really just having like a problem solving mindset. That's what I
Yes.
think. I'm like,
Yeah.
just, and even if you can on your own, asking a few friends to sit with you and
Yeah.
say, "Hey, I'm struggling figuring out how to do this.
Yeah.
Um, can you give me," and ask the right friends.
Yeah.
Don't ask the friends that you're gonna want to be like, okay, that's enough. Not a friend who's gonna go on for 45 minutes telling you, well, do this. No, just somebody who can be compassionate, kind,
Yes.
and just give you some advice and let you, implement it how you want. But sometimes, two brains is really better than one. Like, there's been
Yeah.
times where I felt like, I don't know if I could do this. I don't know. And I'll be talking with a friend and we're like talking about my schedule, and she's like, well, maybe like this time. And I'm like, oh,
Oh.
I didn't even think about it. So
Yeah.
it really is something that you can think about with someone else, and also just start
Yeah.
somewhere, even if it's a 5-minute walk, a
Mhm.
10-minute walk in your neighborhood, or like up and down your house, in your backyard.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't, it's just moving. And
Mhm.
if you're moving, your, blood is flowing, right?
Yes.
You're like,
Yes.
your heart is pumping, and that's healthy for you. So
Mhm.
I would say that if you feel like you don't have enough time, just really write out your schedule and see visibly that if there's really no space
Yeah.
for you.
I love that. I love that. Okay, we're gonna go into number 3. Are you more of
Okay.
a cardio mommy or a strength
Oh,
training mommy?
okay. So I like both.
Yeah.
I do. I like both. I do 2 mornings of strength training with a friend.
Yeah.
We get up at 4:45. We meet at the gym Tuesday, Thursdays, and we do strength training.
Yes.
We do legs and arms, and then we sit in the sauna.
Yes.
And my husband likes to tease me that we're, acting like wealthy, you know, housewives or something. I'm like, that are getting up at 4:45 in the morning and doing this at the YMCA. No, we're not at a spa. We're not at the Ritz. Come on. So that's my strength training. And then cardio, I've taken a break from spin, but I do like spin classes. I just recently did one, but I try to do 1 to 2 cardio days a week. Right now, I'm working out a fair amount, but I know even when I started this, and I said this out loud to some friends on purpose, I said, you know what? I have to remember this is a season.
Yes.
Because it's not realistic that I'm probably going to be able to work out 4 days a week for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And so you kind of have to let yourself, not to the extent I just described. Right. A year ago, I was not able to work out like this.
Yeah.
I wasn't. I just had to. My kids were younger. My lifestyle was different. I had to. But right now, I'm in just like this cushion year where I have some childcare here. Yeah. I can do this. I'm like, okay, well, I can, input more into my fitness right now. Yeah. So I do both cardio and strength.
So allowing your journey to like evolve with each like season stage of your life, you would say is super important.
Very important. Like just getting into an end all be all is just, it's not kind. Yeah. It's not compassionate. And that's a big theme of what I'm trying to lean into just in life in general, but with my body, compassion. Yeah. And like, is this kind? Yeah. Like, why am I being mean to myself, So,
seriously. Yeah. I love that. Okay. So what has been the greatest hindrance to living a fit life after kids, and how did you actively attempt to overcome it?
Sleep. Sleep. That was do you guys sleep with your kids? Do your kids So, yeah. You're saying specifically after becoming a mom?
Yes, ma'am.
Sleep, and sleep. So I say that to say, if you're not getting enough sleep. Don't try to push yourself to go and work out and say that's a healthy hindrance. You need to sleep. But so yeah, sleep is definitely one. And then I think probably the time thing we talked about. Yeah. And just getting started. So I think a lot of times it was like, oh, okay, how am I going to work out? Where am I going to work out? What am I going to do? So the planning part is hard. Yeah. And so that for me was probably the biggest hindrance, is just the planning and figuring out how am I going to do this. Yeah. After I was, even though I was still sleep deprived, but
you make it work over time.
Yeah, over time you kind of build a muscle of being sleep deprived. Yes. So yeah, I think it was that, and I also think it goes back to the beginning of our episode of not feeling comfortable and not accepting my body the way it was. So I think getting to a place of feeling more comfortable in my body, I was able to, it's almost like mentally I could handle thinking through working out more easily. Because I was trying to like strategize, okay, how can I start to look like this instead of that and do all of this instead of like, how can I just start to get healthier?
Yes.
That's a much easier step to make. So I think that my mindset of how I viewed my body too, got into, was a hindrance. Yeah.
I love that. Like, seriously, it gives you a whole different perspective about approaching like that whole process. Like, if we don't look at that side of it, I feel like it's hard to embrace that there's other aspects to starting a journey other than just, let me just work out 5 times a day. Like, where is your check-in, like how are you checking in with yourself to make sure that you're even accepting? Because I feel like for me, I was like that too. After having Micah, I don't know what happened, but like everything did, okay? And there was a lot of changes, like we moved here, all that stuff. But I feel like when that happened, it was like I felt the same way. Like I didn't want to see myself in the mirror in my own gym. Like I didn't want to go downstairs in the like gym in here and see myself, let alone like have the courage to go into a gym and like feel comfortable. And it's almost like I felt like as like an athlete or someone that has been like super like strong or like in this position before. I feel like it's almost like you feel like you have like that picture of you on your back.
Yes.
And you feel like everybody can see that. So no matter where you are, like that's like, I feel like where some of the shame comes in, because it's like everybody can see like where I am now and where I used to be. And it's like, that's like not even true, because nobody has.
People aren't thinking as much about us as we think they are.
Yes.
But it doesn't diminish your thought process though, because you're still carrying that around whether people are actually thinking about it or not, right? It's still there for you. And so I think that there's this sense of like, am I betraying like myself? Am I not living up to like my standard of, and it's really a sense of no, this is, and really understanding what was that standard? How did it get developed? How did it come? And giving ourselves compassion that like, just like our brains grow and change and our families change and our bodies change too. And it just is.
Yeah.
It just is. But I definitely think this idea of like, how are people perceiving my body like definitely impacts how you are perceiving your body too.
Yes. Seriously.
Yeah.
100%.
So many hurdles to
get to that place to even like be able to like put effort
into going to work out, because the mental work, and that's why in the beginning I was talking about like our relationship with our body is mental and it's emotional. Like there's a mental piece to like that you have to get through. Yes, to even be able to say, okay, now I can pick myself up and go like do something. Go work out.
Seriously. Okay, so do you have any mental tricks that you use when you just don't feel like working out?
Okay, so I wish I had like these I I wish I had these earth-shattering tricks. Okay, so one thing I think about is how great I will feel afterwards. That's a big thing for me. I know that like I will feel great. I know I have never worked out and regretted it. Like 2 hours later, 3 hours later, 7 hours later. So I've never regretted it. I know I'll feel great afterwards. I think about how kind I'm, how much better of a friend, mom, wife, just April that I'm gonna be if I pour into myself. So I and my friend who work out together, we're kind of like, we like to work out so early because we're like, we get to be a person, our own person before we go. And like, and I mean, we love like being the people we are in our lives. But we love ourselves too. Like we have needs. And so it's like this idea of like, it is self-care. When you are like, I'm getting up at 4:40. This is not like, I'm not over here like, I need to be a size this. I'm like, no. I need to be a person. Like I have to, and you cannot pour from an empty cup. And so I gotta pour into myself. And so I think about that. I'm like, I notice, and maybe this is something to even think about for every person who's listening. Notice how you feel and think the weeks that you aren't taking care of your body.
Yes.
That you aren't working out, you aren't eating well, drinking your water, sleeping. Think about how you feel and how you think, because for me, I'm more irritable.
Yes.
I have less patience, and I'm like, I am irritable, but I know I just need to work out.
Yes.
And if I can work out, it's like my life, everything that was falling apart and felt horrible, and like, I'm not cursing right now, but and I'm like, wow, I can do life. I can do this again. And that's just it's the truth, right? And so I'm like, if I can I will tell my husband, I'm like, Mark, if I can just get to the gym and do 45 minutes, if I can do 20 minutes, if I do 15, I'm like, I do think I will feel, this won't feel as, so I'm a big believer. And I mean, you're the fitness expert. I'm a big believer that our relationship with our body is spiritual.
Yes.
Also, it's love.
Yes.
We are God gave us bodies, and taking care of them is worship.
Yes. Oh,
it is. It's honoring.
Yes.
It's honoring to God. It's honoring to ourselves, and it gives us, it like benefits us like threefold, fourfold, five, tenfold. It benefits us. And I think God set it up that way.
Yes.
On purpose.
Yes.
And he clearly didn't set it up for our bodies all look the same.
Exactly.
On purpose.
Yes.
He clearly did not set it up for our bodies to look the same. So I think that I think a lot about, I will be a better me.
Yes.
If I prioritize my physical body. And I would say my husband is the same. I know I'm a female and a mom, but my husband has said the same things. Like, I will see him and he's like, and I'm like, I think you need to work out.
Yeah. Yes.
That's literally what I will say to him. And he's like, I do. I haven't worked out in like 4 days. And I'm like, just go pull up the Peloton app is like $12 or something a month. Yes. I'm like, go out there, pull up a Peloton thing, do it in the garage. And we don't have a big workout thing, but we have some weights and a spin bike from Facebook Market, and so he can do something. I know myself well enough to know I am not a at-home gym girl. I have to go to the gym. And so that's another thing.
Exactly.
I have a gym membership because I know that like I'm just not motivated to do it at home. Except during the pandemic, I was, but it went away. The other thing I would say is music. Music helps me if I'm, not feeling in the mood to work out. Just turning on some type of, just like turn up.
Yes.
So 100%. Yeah, I think those are the things. Yeah, I've never regretted working out. But
you can find yourself regretting it if you don't.
I have definitely regretted it, and that's I have. I'll be at the end of the day and I'm like, oh, I feel sluggish, and that's something I think about when I'm deciding to work out or not. Like, I'm not going to feel great at the end of the day. How much better will I feel when I lay my head on that pillow, knowing I took care of my body?
100%.
And so those are things I think about to kind of get over that hurdle of like, should I work out or not?
Girl, I get you, because I literally just was talking to Mitchell about this. Like, I have to get up like at least by like 5:30, 6 at the latest. Like, I have to be up and ready like to go work out by 6, like every day, because little Mitchell, he gets up at 6:30. So it's like,
you gotta be gone,
girl,
right?
If he gets up before me, it ruins the whole day because he sets the tone. So if he's upset, now I'm upset, and it's nothing that even happened yet.
Nothing happened.
Like,
yes. If I get woken up in bed, I'm like, oh man, this is not. And it's like, these are just my kids, but I'm like. But if I come back into the house and I've worked out, I'm like, hey, yes. Great to see you. Look at you, so cute. And I'm like, but if it's I'm like, I just need some coffee or something. It's not, And that happens a few mornings a week because I only get up that 2 times, but that's just how it is those other mornings.
Yes. Look, and you make it work, those other mornings,
we
but
make
it's like...
We make it work, but it's nice to come and be like awake.
Yes, and ready,
Yes. Yes.
I get you. So, super random question. What is your go-to snack food?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm like, what do I eat? I was really into I love chips and guac.
Yeah.
Chips and salsa. These lovely things. But I was really into Silk. Silk had this like chocolate protein milk that is so good.
Yeah.
I can't find it anymore. Hopefully it will be back. It's probably just because of like shipping stuff and things like that. Yeah. So that is a big one. I love apples and peanut butter. Yeah. If we're saying like junk food, flaming hot Cheetos.
Number one for you. Look, you gotta have those too. You have to. It's just real.
We need them in our lives. Flaming hot Cheetos.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. So this is our last question. If you could say one thing to a mama out there that is struggling to continue to pursue a healthier lifestyle, what would you say to her?
I think. Yeah, I think I would ask, what does a healthier lifestyle look like for you tomorrow? Mm-hmm. Like, what's one thing, one shift just tomorrow that you could make? And what is there any idea of what's kind of getting in the way for you with that, making that one shift? And then I would also say, like, you are kind of like what we were saying earlier, the idea that this is your, like, God's gift to us, our bodies. Mm-hmm. And so this is the only body we have. Yeah. And so there is a sense that it's worth prioritizing ourselves. And I think our culture, society, especially Western culture, does not, it doesn't hugely applaud prioritizing yourself. It's very much about, giving and, just efficiency and things like that. And prioritizing ourselves is important in a way that you're prioritizing because it's giving to you. Mm-hmm. So not prioritizing just to be like selfish, like I just need to feel good or but it's filling your tank. Mm-hmm. Things that you're putting in that are actually filling your tank. That's to me really what the reason you want to prioritize yourself. Yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much. Seriously, April, you're amazing.
You're welcome.
All right, guys. So thank you so much again for being with us today. And you, April, thank you
for having me. This is my first podcast experience. It's been great.
Yes. I love this. So everyone, make sure that you go follow April on her Instagram. Her professional page is With Open Hands Therapy. So again, it's With Open Hands Therapy. And if you want to check her out on her personal page, it's Black is Beauty.
Yes, Black is Beauty, BEAUTI. Yes. And Black is BLAK. Yeah.
Yes.
So Black is Beauty. Yeah. And feel free. Yes. Follow my personal page that's more of my like mom, friend, wife hat. So yes, feel free to follow me.
Yes. So if you don't know where to start in your fitness journey, join us for our free live workouts on Wednesdays. They're live on YouTube at Brianna Dawkins. The workout is called Get It In, Fit It In, and it's an exercise class that is designed with those who are super busy in mind. So all you need is a kettlebell and a resistance band with the handles, and it can be done anywhere. So also, if you want to join the accountability group, on Facebook. Flexing Fit Mama is where you can find that, and just find it. I'll add you right in. And lastly, follow us on Be Free and Fit Podcast on Instagram so you can always know when there's a new episode that drops. Again, thank you so much, April, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So much to us. And thank you everyone for listening. And as always, promise me you will never give up.